Greetings, everyone. David J. Coon with Qigong Awareness. Harness the force. Harness it. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend practicing Qigong with us. Live classes streamed every week on Thursdays, 3 p.m. East Coast time. You can watch the recording at any time. 5-unit CEU courses for acupuncturists and massage therapists. Lay people can take those as well. Full weekend programs. Many online programs and seminars and workshops, momentum gaining weekends already previously recorded. If you've been listening to any of the previous episodes, it is very, very important that if you are to heal yourself, if you are to change, if you are to transform, you absolutely need this one thing. There's one thing you absolutely 100% need. It's called momentum. Without momentum, it isn't going to happen. You cannot just do the next best thing. And for the most part, there's a few people who will grab the new best thing, whatever that happens to be, and change their whole life with it, right? But for the average person, we actually need many levels of change, which means we need many new habits. And with many new habits comes many new experiences. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, is the definition of insanity, right? So you may have heard that before. So changing our habits so that we literally create a new lifestyle is very, very important. Now, there's a teaching that goes back to Jesus, Buddha, and others that said, seek not outside yourself for satisfaction, for gratification, for total fulfillment. You know, the idea is that your greatest fulfillment comes inside. It's within you. It's in there. The kingdom of heaven is in there. And as we've discussed in previous episodes, Qigong practice really goes into the depths, the internal alchemy of what the kingdom of heaven looks like. There are chakras, there are energy centers, there are meridians, there are extraordinary meridians, there's kundalini. These are things that are like on the way to the kingdom of heaven, so to speak, right? They're doorways, they're gateways into the kingdom of heaven. So these are things that we practice to experience and to embody. Okay. One of the things that I love about this path and why this path spoke so much to me and still does, okay, after many years of doing it, is that it incorporates the body. You see, when I get excited, like I can't like not talk with my hands. When I do my healing work, it's hard to not put my hands out. And even these days, if I'm doing distance healing or something, you know, I'm focused and I'm using my body. I'm very aware of my body. This is very different than like escaping the body and running away from it and that kind of idea. So in the last episode, this is episode number 20, by the way. Bam, bam, episode number 20. All right. So in the last episode, I talked about inner peace. Inner peace is something that I craved, even though I didn't necessarily, I had words for it earlier on. But as I became older and I started to experience more pain and suffering in my body, and I started to experience more and more of quote unquote the human condition, the suffering of other people around me, the neuroses that they were dealing with, the addictions that they were dealing with, the pain that it caused them, the struggle for money, the struggle to survive, the struggle to get a job and communicate with the boss and, you know, leave that company and move here and do whatever the thing was. I experienced a lot of that in my earlier years, and I'm very grateful for it now. And I'm very grateful, especially that I transcended it and that I found a better way to live my life, okay? And I want to share it with you because what else do I have to do, right? So that's what I have to do because that's where my passion is. Now that I've transcended these kinds of things and that I have this depth of knowledge and a lay of the land of how I did it, how I negotiated it. And then, of course, many years now of actually coaching and teaching and training other people how to do it and watching them do it and watching them produce their own miracles and their own magic. What else do I have to do? What am I going to go do? Get another job that I hate and work from 9 to 5 and do something I don't want to do? No, not going to work, right? Because on that path, that's not going to bring me a greater level of inner peace. And so therefore I can't do it. The Buddhists have a great term that actually means harmlessness to myself, harmlessness to you. The term is Ahimsa, Ahimsa, Ahimsa. And the term means harmlessness to myself, harmlessness to you. When it comes to inner peace, that is something that you want to live by. I cannot bring harm to you. I cannot bring harm to myself. If I'm in a relationship with you and there's something that I'm doing that's causing me harm based on my own decisions of being with you, even if you happen to be dysfunctional or whatever the case may be, I'm the one putting myself in that situation. So if I put myself in that situation, then I am not in accordance with this teaching of Ahimsa because I am not being harmless to myself. And if that's the case, then I'm going to become angry, I'm going to become bitter, and then I might even lash out at you. And then guess what? We end up in a dysfunctional relationship. Ding, ding, ding. All right, take a deep breath. It's important to breathe, right? That's why I say, please join me. Practice Qigong with me in some capacity. I highly recommend it. I have so many things to teach you, but I cannot teach them to you in one video. We have years of training to do, not just 1 year, not just 1 week, but years of training for some of you. Please join me. It will change and transform your life. In the meantime, let's get back to our subject here, our dialogue and our philosophy about inner peace. So right now, there's a tremendous amount of conflict on the planet. People are arguing and fighting over everything. And people are throwing away their inner peace without even realizing that they have it because most people are throwing their inner peace away so much and so often. And that's actually how I grew up. I learned how to do that very well, became very proficient in throwing away my own inner peace. Didn't even know I was doing it. So many people are throwing away their own inner peace on a daily basis, on a regular basis, over all kinds of things. But this is a big one, okay? On the level that it is, see if you can catch it. We talked about ego a little bit in the last couple of episodes that we did. And the ego is, again, all about this idea of me, myself, and I. It is the exact opposite of kind of unity consciousness, the idea that you and I are one, we're connected, okay? And that if I can help you have a better day, then my day is going to be better. Duality consciousness, which is ego-based consciousness, is the idea that if there's $10 sitting on the table and it's broken up all into ones, that I have to run over there and get as many of those ones as I can before I have less money. That's the idea behind ego consciousness. If there's a buffet and there's only 3 pieces of broccoli or 3 pieces of chicken left, I got to get in there and get what's mine because if I don't, I'm going to starve to death. And that is the idea of like Darwinism and so on, survival of the fittest and the laws of the ego. The laws of the spiritual, the metaphysical, the heart-centered consciousness, ahimsa, comes from a very different place. When we get really radical about it, it comes from the place that I'm immortal. I'm actually not just a body. It takes time to maybe awaken to that. I've shared in previous episodes my experience with that. I now know I'm not a body. I laugh at the idea, actually, often. I'm a spirit. I'm here temporarily, and there's one law in effect. The law is called karma, and a lot of people can contest the idea about karma and so on. I'm certainly not here to contest it, just here to share an idea. Jesus talked about a law, and he said, "The law is that which ye sow, ye shall reap." The Buddha called that same law karma, and the New Agers, so to speak, for lack of better words, no judgment at all, they're just New Age idea is that it's now called the law of attraction, right? So these are all similar ideas and similar themes. Having said that, there is a tremendous amount of information that is not out there in the hands of the public, or in the eyes or the ears or the minds of the public related to these deeper teachings. We see a trace of it in church, in Christianity, for example, like in my church, in the church I used to go to years ago, they would have traces of this, right? There's traces of it in Buddhism. I think Buddhism gets into it a little bit more with the karma and so on, and that idea. And then there's this new age teaching, law of attraction, which some of it has become very material focused, like how do I get a new car? How do I get a new boat? And that's not really what it's about, even though I do think that you can have your cake and eat it too. If you really want the new boat, you can attract the new boat, but really the priority shouldn't be the boat or the island or the trip externally, because the external state will not make you happy. If you just can't stand, you just cannot, how do I say, you can't hold back your joy about a boat, the idea of a boat. You just can't hold back your joy. You just love being on the water. You just love boats. You just can't hold it back. No one can hold you back. It's just, oh my God, I love boats, right? Then by all means get a boat, like attract a boat, like focus on a boat. I'll teach you how to do that another time. My main point right now is that there's this law, okay? The law can also be seen as simple as, like, this would be a teaching from like the kung fu master, right, that teaches the disciple, hey, throw a pebble in the pond. You throw a pebble in the pond, what happens? There's ripples. The ripples ripple out, the ripples come back. This is the cause. This is what the physicists call, for every action there's an opposite and equal reaction. Okay, so we see the law is there. But we have some tricky spiritual, metaphysical things going on that are keeping people from understanding that there's actually a law. I'm going to tell you what they are real quick. Okay. One of them's time, the illusion of time. So where were you before you were born? Most people don't know. Most people don't have memories of where they were before they were born. Where are you going after this life is over? Question mark. Most people don't know where they're going after this life is over. Those of us who have had, whatever it is, whether through drugs or mushrooms or metaphysical experiences due to healing practices, like the way that I experience these kinds of things, you may have visions, you may have, let's just say that you may have visions. It's hard to explain to anyone else. You just have a personal experience, and there are things that unfold. I'm not going to say much more about that right now. But anyway, point is, there is something that happens along the way that as your consciousness expands, you start to realize, hey, I'm not this body, I'm not this time, I'm not this place. And a version of that story is told, a little mini version of that story is told in the movie Groundhog Day. And that's why I referenced that movie in my book. And so what to do? What if, here's again, just some mind-blowing contemplations if you want to take them in, okay? Number one, start practicing Ahimsa no matter where you are. Harmlessness to myself, harmlessness to other people. Ahimsa, 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 ahimsa. Harmlessness to myself, harmlessness to other people. It will change your life. That alone, as a practice, will change your life. Understand that Qigong is a practice of ahimsa, harmlessness to me, harmlessness to you. That's not necessarily true with mixed martial arts, I can't do it anymore, but in certain cases, two guys or two gals really want to go at it and they want to use each other's bodies as punching bags. For them, it might work out, okay? But in general, fighting or competition or whatever isn't typically a place of ahimsa. So, but neither is a passivity where, hey, go ahead and beat me up. That's not a great path either. So following the path of ahimsa, Qigong being a practice of ahimsa, meditation being a practice of ahimsa, highly recommend this. And I just wanted to give you a little seed, plant a little seed about this law called karma. And how can you begin influencing it wherever you are, even though you're not really sure where you are? You see, because if you don't know where you were before you were born and you're not sure where you're going after you leave here, then you're not really sure where you are. And uh, when you're living in that kind of state, it seems as if people can get away with anything. This guy goes and murders X number of people and he gets away with it. This gal, she goes and steals and embezzles all this money and she gets away with it, so on and so forth. How do you know they got away with it? I wouldn't want to be that person. I wouldn't want to be around for when they die their body and they go through the dream bardo and they have the dreams that Scrooge had, Ebenezer Scrooge, if you remember the story. I wouldn't want to have those dreams. I wouldn't want to wake up someplace else in the next lifetime, if there is one, uh, having people chase me and torment me. And I'll leave you with this thought. As the Dalai Lama likes to say, using a known entity, as the Dalai Lama likes to say, you've pretty much been everybody to everybody. So be nice to everybody because you might see them again very soon. I hope to see you very soon in the next episode.